Breedwell is currently producing over 10,000 tons of finished feeds for both broiler and layer birds monthly, and moving well the imported concentrates from Belgium and Hipra vaccines from Spain.
BW 5% concentrate is of high quality, produced with advanced technology in Europe. BW 5% concentrate is very effective due to the carefulness of production by the experts who knows about farming. Concentrate is the combination of essential micronutrients which are combined in a single bag that our body or animal's body cannot produce. These nutrients are the major ingredients that the boss needed for productivity, for high production, growth, and also some metabolic functions. The advantages of BW concentrate are numerous. It ensures homogeneity in mixture. It contains nutrient binder. This means every nutrient in the concentrate or in the feed, a bird pick a single grain, it has been assured that all the nutrients has been picked. And also, it stimulates growth. It also reduces the stress of acquiring a lot of raw materials. Imagine you want to compose a feed and you are asked to look for about 15 different raw materials. It's tiring. But the PW concentrate a single bag that contains about 9. Just add little and you are good to go. And also, it is comparatively cheaper than anything in the country. The farmers that have been on BW concentrate, they have been smiling to us and they have been coming back for more. BW concentrate, the pride of farmer.
Fiesta chicken is processed in Nigeria with the use of high technology by our professional personnel, which makes it healthier. We produce up to 30 metric tons daily. That's about 25 to 30,000 birds every day. Fiesta chicken is processed in hygienic and serene environment with maximum food security.
The only thing I just want to fix about this video, is the capacity of our feed mill. At that time we were producing 10,000 tons per month. Now we are producing up to 20,000 tons per month, which is duplicating our total capacity. Also our daily slaughtered chicken per day is increased up to 35,000 birds per day, which is, it's a huge amount now, but we also aiming because first of all we have our new feed mill. Second thing, we have our new slaughter. Both are in Ibadan, and probably we might even arrange something with Dr. Markenda to even let some of you just see our facilities over there. The most important, guys, my objective of today, I will not even have a long conversation, but I just want to emphasize based on our concept here, imitate our success story in our country over there in Lebanon, because we are over there over 40 years in Lebanon. We have our own farms over there, which is Agri-Bond Group, including Sayed Farm as well. So we wanted to imitate our success story here. We started here like farmers, guys. We were farmers at the beginning, started with our farms, then we are expanded, had our feed mill, had our own DOC for ourselves. Then we wanted to expand this to the market, then we expanded to the situation we have currently. But our main concept, guys, to keep and never ever compromise the quality of feed. However, the challenge we always face due to the scarcity of raw materials or whatever, but our main concept is to keep the high quality. So what I need, even as a brother, advise you as a farmer also, to tell you guys, we don't want to be just like deceived by the price of some feed. Some feed just like try to trap you and even telling you this kind of feed is saving for you certain amount, couple of naira per kg, so you will save. No, it's not about saving currently how much you pay. It's about the return on investment you are doing at the end of the cycle. What's your FCR, what the mortality rate, what is the, what you call it, the feed intake. All this influence, what the mortality rate for sure, influences your profitability, not only what you pay. And this is what we are aiming, and what I need to even emphasize now, guys, to tell you what is behind the scene for high quality product. It's not even an easy task to produce a high quality product. The first of all, guys, this is as you see our facility in Ibadan. Okay. The factors that influencing the feed, guys, the first of all is the feed hygiene. You can imagine, guys, this was statistics all over the world that the feed can even introduce some microorganisms to your farms. So if those people producing the feed, they don't care about the hygiene inside their feed mill, the biosecurity inside the feed mill, they would even transmit a disease to your farm. If you see here, guys, that even feed hygiene, the frequency of salmonella to 8-point frequency. However, you can imagine biosecurity or even cleaning or housing the abattoir or whatever, you can imagine it's decreasing. So the highest one is the feed hygiene. So it reflects the responsibility of the feed producers not to introduce outbreak or infection to your farm. And this is also very important to the feed producer to pay attention to. The cleaning of even the apartment of feed is not an easy task, because as you see, this is just like a diagram for the feed mill, the silos, bunkers, everything. This area, guys, is called the area of contamination. So those people, and we spend lots of money, guys, in order to disinfect this compartment inside the feed mill. And for sure, the fumigation of the whole feed mill, or even the fumigation for even some insects or whatever, weevils or whatever, and also for microorganisms, it's really, really important to pay attention to. The second thing the high quality feed producer pay attention to, guys, is to select the high quality raw materials, the accurate raw materials from the origin, from the storage, which storage area, the processing methods, all this, influencing, because sometimes you can find like this. There is a very, very obvious thing. We even might receive some batch like this from maize or some of this and different prices. Some people might accept this, okay, to pay less, and for sure this one, the result is totally different, and all of them are mixed already inside the bag and you cannot notice. For sure, what we are saying is the quality of raw materials included by the moisture content inside the raw materials, which affect the quality of raw materials itself. The second thing, guys, or the other thing, sorry, is to add some very, very important, guys. It's not an easy task to even work on the quality of the feed itself in order to increase the nutritional value of the raw materials and even overcome all the problems that might come from the raw materials, like add mycotoxins, like toxin binders or enzymes or probiotics, acidifiers. All this product, guys, is very, very essential to maximize what you need from the raw materials in order to give you a highly nutritive and effective product. It's really, really important, guys. You know, many of people, and I know what I'm talking about, they don't even add any feed additives. Some of them count on low price feed additives from whatever source. But let me tell you, even based on our experience, we are using the high quality feed additives coming either from US or a European source. So to increase and maximize, and this you can imagine, guys, it's really, really expensive. You can imagine, even I can tell you in figures, Only feed additives can cost us per kg from 30 to 40 naira per kg, just feed additives. You can imagine. So this thing, guys, it will be reflected for sure on the quality of the product. You know, even for the durability itself, you can, guys, check your feed from the physical appearance. The physical appearance also tells a lot. The durability of feed, the pellet size itself, the fine particles, the percentage of fine, all this can even tell you what's behind the scene, because it's really, really important for this in order to have a good physical appearance from the feed, which will be reflected for sure on the profitability and even the gain from the feed itself, even from the fine percentage, the external, or even any foreign materials inside, or, you know, some of you who might just visit our facility, I will show you guys that even there is what you call it a sieve and filtering system. We have it just not to get whatever we have raw materials, we sieve it first, then we filter, we wash it to even remove all the debris that come with maize or soya or whatever, in order to, you know, decrease all these impurities. You can see beside the sieve a lot of sacks of debris and impurities. To be very frank with you, many people, guys, they don't do this. They just mix whatever they have inside, and even you cannot notice. Everything is mixed in the mixer, and you will not notice it. You know what I'm saying? And by the end of the day, it will affect the quality. You can imagine you trash a lot of bags every day just to increase the quality of your product. If I can tell you, guys, it's really, really important why I'm telling you, and I got you inside the feed mill itself, because the processing inside the feed mill is not an easy task. In order to have, before we were using the mash only for broiler, for example, now we are using the pellet. This pellet is even changing the feed gain from a stage to another stage, as you see. Before we were even doing up to 40 or 60 days in order to reach what we need 2 kg or whatever. Now from 30, 32 or 35 or whatever. So why you do this? Because you are like cooking the feed inside the feed mill before introduce it to your bird. What happened in this? It's called the steam, and with, as I mentioned, we add materials which is called acidifiers or whatever. With the steam, it immerses inside the feed particle. You can see here this feed particle here. You can imagine this is the water, the steam with it, and this is the feed particle. If you see that the feed particle, the water or steam will even cover all the feed particles, while if we don't add this amount of materials, it will make clumpy feed like this one. I will show you. So this is the one, if somebody like, you know, don't do the steaming inside the feed mill properly, the feed will climb like this. But with proper steaming, okay, and with certain materials, call it the water activity inside the feed particles, and when the water activity is decreasing, the growth of fungus or the growth of bacteria is decreasing also inside the feed, and that's why the shelf life of feed is increasing. And also, as you see, there is no any bad effect on the feed. It's affecting, as I mentioned, through the pellet size and the pellet density, and you can see here the difference of the pellet particle between feed mill to feed mill. And the last thing, guys, which is the formulation. Every single person expects that he would have a system of formulation on his laptop, and he can formulate. It's an easy task to formulate. But the problem is not the last stage. In order to have a good quality, after all what I mentioned, is to have a better formula of the recipe you are introducing, and this is what we are doing in our breedwell. What I want to say as a conclusion, guys, The high quality feed, there is a big story behind the scene, not only to judge it, you should see by yourself, which you know, seeing is believing. So you should count, if either you have broiler, you should even check the feed intake, check the mortality rate, the health situation of the flock. You should even notice the mortality rate I mentioned, also the FCR, which is the amount of feed gain with the amount of meat or flesh. As a percentage, you can even know the proper FCR you have, which is called the feed conversion ratio. And I bet you all of you know this. And if you have layer, so the layer, you should even notice the feed intake per bullet per day. You should notice the number of crates per day, even the percentage of feed of egg production. And not only this, also the eggshell quality, the broken eggs, the cracked eggs, the hairy eggs or hairy cracked, and for sure the egg yolk color, the eggshell color. All these parameters, guys, it will help you in order to differentiate between a high quality feed and low quality feed. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to even tell you about what's behind the scene. And now my colleagues, Emula will even talk to you in his subject on feed, and then my colleague Yudoton, he will also talk about vaccines. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Great farmer, no farmer. Sincerely, I want to appreciate every one of us for taking time out to be here this very day. Imagine you find yourself, take for instance a country that doesn't have a farmer. How will such a country survive? Let's look ourselves. Between yesterday and today, none of us can say, I don't want to have anything to do with anything that has to do with farm. At one point or the other, we have what we have today because of what we actually, which will be the major thing we want to talk about, especially the area of our discussion at this point in time has to do with the smaller ones. The smaller ones we are talking about has to do with when we are talking of maybe the goats, the rabbits, the poultry, which we call hares. This one that we are talking about the turkey, the broilers, the layers as we are talking about, because all these are what many of us, especially those that are seated here, I know that many of us that are here today, we are poultry farmers. And by and large, just like what my boss said the other time, talking about and exposing some of the things that we do in our company. We have been in existence for over 10 decades. Just like he said, what we were doing at the initial stage was doing it for ourselves. And when we saw, when farmers, a lot of people see what we are actually chunking out, they said, how are you guys doing this? We would like to have the experience you guys are having. Take for instance, when they get to the market, they see our birds like that of our broilers. If you compare our broilers with some of the other broilers outside, you'll be asking, what are the things you are giving these animals? What are those things that you are actually chunking out that these animals are able to have what they have? And that was why that's what led to breedwell to go into this feed production, because we realized that for us to really help the farmers, we need to give them what they are seeing. What are those things they are seeing? They are seeing our birds coming out very well, very big conformation. In fact, if you taste our birds, take for instance any animals that feed on breedwell feed, take for instance the broilers, check the quality of the meat. Look at the animals, look at the conformation, look at all these parameters. These are one of the things that make us distinct in the field of feed production. And that is why I welcome you again to this August occasion. Jesus. So, just like I said the other time, we are talking on poultry management and farming best practices. Poultry management, just as I said the other time, has to do with a brand of animal husbandry that delve into ales. What are these ales? The ales, these are the dog, the turkey, the chickens, and all the likes like that. Now, poultry farming is a cornerstone of agricultural production, and it's evolved over the past couple of decades. It has been since, but what we are doing at this point in time is doing it in a better way, in such a way that at the end of the day, the way we are doing it before is no more the way we are now doing it at this point in time. Before, what we used to do is, once we just have chickens, we just give them for lagbado, and animals just eat it, and at the end of the day, okay, where is the cage? Evening, pack them, and at the end of the day, okay, where is my go? That small cage. Are you getting what I'm talking about? So at the end of the day, okay, where is my, we are not even concerned about how are these animals really doing very well, and that is why at this point in time we are talking about better things and how we can do it in such a way that we will be able to get a better result. As an individual, I believe the crop of farmers that are here this morning, we have those that are actually into maybe raising of DOC. We have those that are actually into broiler production. We have those that are into layer production, that is egg production. But let me now cite some things that will actually help us, especially for those that are into brain-stock husbandry. There are some certain salient things that we need to know so that to really help us, especially those of us that are raising our birds, for those that we raise it from DOC, and then for people to come and buy. One of the things that will really help us is the selection of the breed that we are to use. Take for instance, the birds that you want to use must have some physical characteristics that will make them to be different from the ones that you just see around. If you are the farmer that you raise birds from DOC for people to come and buy from DOC, the parent stock should be the ones that have quality attributes. What are some of those quality attributes that we have to look at? How about their egg production? How about the fertility? How about the birds in terms of the conformation of the birds? These are the things that we need to look at, and that has to do with the breed selection that we are to use even in our production. Then, just like my boss talked about some things about feed, the feed and nutrition management is also very important. I was discussing with A1 about 2 or 3 days ago, one of our farmers here. I told him one of the things that make breedwell to be different from other companies, the method of our production. Many of you knows that I've been in some other places, but my experience at this point in time made me to understand that breedwell, in terms of the way we produce our feed, in terms of the management, in terms of the machines that we use, they are very, very unique. And that is the things that make us to be unique. And that is the method that makes this feed to be so unique in such a way that the quality is not what we play with. And some of these things are one of the things that make us to be unique. Our feed, when animals take on our feed, they are always very good. And that is because if I can see every one of you, as I'm seeing every one of you, I know that every one of you, you are good. And you always want something good. And that is why I want to tell you this morning, breedwell is good for you. Can you just say to the person beside you, breedwell is good for you? Then again, another thing that we also need to look into is the health and disease control. My colleague will speak more on that. But let me just say one or two things. In implementing regular health checks, just like I said at the onset, there are in management, there are two things that we look into: the routine management and the occasional management. The routine management, these are some of the things that you do day in, day out. I wouldn't know. One of the things that is very good for every one of us as a farmer, when you're bored early in the morning, it is always good that you introduce water to your animal, even before they are given food. This feed that we are talking. So when you introduce water to them, it will really help their system, so that at the end of the day, the food that they will take in, they will be able to take in, and then it will even help their digestion. Then talking about the environment and the housing and the environment. The housing of your birds, just like when you see the conditions where your pen, take for example, when you want to construct your pen, you oftentimes need to put into consideration the directions at which you are going to construct your pen. Take for instance, if the sun is pointing to you directly like this, it is not good that you raise your birds, you select your pen to face the sun directly. Because if you do such a thing, at the end of the day, you spend more money in treating these animals. A lot of environmental issues will going to affect these animals. At the same time, when you want to do such a thing, it's always very good. Take for example, if your pen is in this direction, if the sun is facing this direction, let your pen be like this, so that at the end of the day, before, take for example, the sun is rising at this side, it will still be on your head, on the head of the pen. But if it is in this direction, chunky amount of the heat will be on the animals. And at the end of the day, you spend more money in solving the heat and some other issues like that. The welfare practices should also be put into consideration. The the financial management. Yes, as money is coming in a poultry venture, we should always ensure that we manage our finance, the way we handle the running of our farm. Yes, my brothers, my great farmers, one thing that we need to learn is this: when your birds are doing very well, that is the time to plan for the next season. Yes, mom, your birds are laying, you are having plenty amount of money. Plan at that time to ensure that that is the optimum time. You need to plan in such a way that when they are now at the sigmoid, that is when the production is declining, you already know that you have gained one or two things during the course of raising some of these animals. So we should learn to know how to manage our finance, managing budgets, controlling our cost, analyzing our profitability, and planning strategically for the farm expansion and investment. This is very important. The technology and the innovation. Last month or 2 months ago, I was in Ibadan when I was talking on handling issues, especially in this trying period in animal husbandry. One of the things I mentioned in that discussion, which I also chip in here at this point in time, is let us allow innovations, new ideas, new technology, new things as we are doing our business. Let us not, it is true, this is how we have been doing it before. But what if the way we have been doing it before is not right? But if you allow yourself to share ideas, just like we are doing seminar that we are doing like this, at the end of the day, you gain one or two things, which is going to add to the system. And at the end of the day, you become a better farmer. And you are going to become a better farmer by the grace of God. Then regulatory compliances, let's do the necessary thing. It's not every time anybody should come to your farm. That somebody is your friend does not mean he can just bump into your pen anytime. For your own information, it's not every vehicle that should enter your take for example, for those of us that have big farms. It's not every farm, my colleague and I, we were somewhere last week. By the time we want to enter that farm, we had to park our vehicles outside. Because the owner of the farm will never allow anybody, no matter how close you are to that person, your car will be parked outside. So what is that person trying to do? He's trying to ensure about security. So that any dick and Harry cannot just enter your farm. These are some of the things we need to put into consideration. It's not that you don't like that person. It's not that that person is not is bringing any evil something, but note that is the principle in animal husbandry. Not everything should come into your farm, and those are some of the things we just need to understand. I'm trying to be snappy because of our time, because I know many of you have a lot of things to do at the end of the day, and we wouldn't like to take much of your time. Poultry housing, just like I mentioned, we have to put, take for instance, if you are a broiler farmer, the spacing you are going to use is going to be different for that of the layers. For layers around 1.5 to 2.5 square spacing. For broilers around 1 meter square spacing. So you need to understand that concept, because if you don't understand, at the end of the day, you just realize that, say for instance, if broilers are given opportunity to do more exercise, they will burn all the fats, and at the end of the day, you will spend more money. So instead of managing your money, you see that at the end of the day, you are spending more money. Then in your pen, ventilation is very important. I saw maybe some of us that are in that group, they put it up that somebody has 2 plots of land, and on that plot of land they have about capacity of 5,000 broilers. That on that same plot, 2 plots of land, another 4,500 capacity on that plot of land. Then at the same time they have 3-bedroom flats on that 2 plots of land. So somebody now commented on that, and I said, on this same 2 plots of land you have all this? No wonder the farm was not actually successful. A lot of things need to be put in place. It is true that you want to maximize the land, but at the same time, necessary thing needs to be put into the consideration. The spacing is very important. The ventilation is also very important. Yes, these animals, they perform better when there's proper ventilation. I was in somebody's a feed store not quite long, and I saw that person packed feeds on top one another. And at the end of the day, he was complaining that some of the feeds are caking. I said, madam, see, there is no ventilation here. Then the feeds are packed. Then there is need for us to understand that the feed that came in last week should be the one you are to use. The one that is coming today will be the next one to be used. You don't, because this one, I quickly get it and it will be easier for me to carry. I carry. Let's make sure that we notify those people in our domain that, please, when you want to carry the feed for animals, the ones that was brought last week should be taken. The one that is being brought today should be taken later. And these are the things that we need to put into consideration. Temperature, when the situation in our country, we have 2 seasons, wet and dry season. I was somewhere sometimes ago in a farm, and when I got in there, they were saying their birds are not producing 400,000 layers. So, and I was like, they feed, and the first thing is feed, and farmers, you know us now. Whenever there is any problem, the next thing is, Emiola, your feed. But one thing is, on getting to the farm, we realize that the birds are panting. The birds were just, when you see your birds opening their mouth like this, they are gasping. They are telling you they need something. They are trying to maintain osmoregulatory system, osmoregulation, so that at the end of the day, what is burning in their system will be balanced with what is outside. That was what is exactly happening. So we have to make them to understand. It is not the feed, though. You are the ones that need to control the temperature, ventilation. We even have to make them to understand. We also introduced that the birds were sprayed. And at the end of the lightning is also very important. Layers tend to produce better feed when when there is more light. Poultry housing system types. I told us we have 3 different types. The conventional systems, which is, some people call it intensive system. It's expensive to actually to handle such, but at the same time, it's what is very, very good for us, because we can manage what we have on ground. Then the second, which is the enriched system, though some of us, we can't do that because of the kind of the situation we find ourselves. The free range are the ones we have around in our house. Then the farmers are required to create a conducive environment that support the health and productivity of their flocks while adhering to animal welfare standards. Water management is another thing that we should also look into. Water is critical nutrients for poultry. When water is not up to the way the quantity they're supposed to be exposed to, it will definitely affect them. I was in a farm in Abuja some times ago. The birds were they didn't know that the lions had problem, and they have water, and at the end of the day they say, this birds is your feed. Oh, by the time we looked through, I said, Oga, fortunately the owner of the farm is one of our governors in Nigeria. So I had to tell, I said, Oga, look at this thing. This thing is not, there is no water here. Because when they now went through some, they said, wow. So one thing is, when water is not inadequate, the birds will not lay very well. Water should be checked. We should ensure that we flush our lines. We should ensure that often. Then another thing I want to chip in water is that if the pH of your water is high, it's acidic, you don't need to use chlorine again. The introduction of chlorine will make the water to be more acidic. So you use something that will make it to be stabilized. These are some other things we need to understand. As a part of water management, farmers need to select water source. We should try as much as possible. Our tank, let's ensure that at least maybe 2 or 3 on 3 months basis, let's ensure that we check our tank, we wash it. Then when you load your birds with drugs, especially all these different types of drugs, let's make sure that within a short period of time, we work on the tank and we flush everything off. Because in one way or the other, some of this tank, at the end of the day, there will be sediment that will settle at the base of the tank. And after some period of time, no chemical reaction takes place every time. At the end of the day, some of these things will trigger another reactions, which at the end of the day may affect this animal. So let's ensure that we check our tanks, we check our lines, we look at some of these critical things that will make our system to be okay. Let's select water sources, ensure water quality, and maintain drinking system to prevent microbial contamination, and make adjustments based on temperature and humidity conditions. There are times we do tell farmers, take for instance, when the heat is too much, we may be advised at times to put block inside your inside your drinker, so that's to cool their system. Because when the heat is much, say for instance, but during the heat time, the heat period, the water could be very hot, and somebody who is drinking hot, it is like you have the system will be burnt. And those are the things we need to look into. The feed management, just as I told you, let me use this avenue to just talk a bit on my feed. Breedwell feeds. I was in a farm not quite long, and I was telling that farm about layer rations. It was saying, Breedwell, do they have layer feed? What I know about Breedwell is broiler feed. I said, wow, well, thank God that you are meeting me. At this point in time, let me tell you some things about my layer feed. About not only the layer we talk about. Yes, Breedwell. Let me first of all say a little about broilers. Normally, Breedwell, we are into feeds. More talk of different, but the one that we specialize today is on poultry feed. We have the broiler rations. We have the layer rations. We have commercial feed. We have professional feed. The professionals, I used to say this oftentimes when I'm outside. I said, if you are a professional, use my professional lines. And this professional, are you a professional farmers? Are you a professional farmers? Yeah, so if you are a professional farmers, use my professional feed. We have different types of professional. Let me first of all talk on that professional lines. In professional feed, we have professional feed for the broilers. We have professional feed even for the layers. You are surprised? Yes, Breedwell, we are into both the broiler rations and the layer rations. The broiler rations that we are talking about, what we do is we tell you, we have different, in our broiler rations, which are the professionals, we have what we call pre-starter crumble, and we also have pre-starter mash. Yes, we have both the crumble and the pelleted form. So You know what I just the difference between the mash and all this pelleted or crumble is just it is the same formulation, but at the end of the day, one will be released directly, another one will be allowed to pass through machines, and once it passes through the machine, it will be supplied, some water will be supplied, eating will also be exposed to it, invariably helping that mash to be more powerful. But it doesn't mean that the nutrition is affected. But the issue is this: animals tend to appreciate the pelleted one more than that of the mash. The reason is the lump, that's just one lump, contains the right amount that is needed by the animals. But for that of the mash, they may oftentimes, I'm not saying mash is not good, but the lump of a bag is complete as a feed. When you take a lump like this, for your, or maybe with your hand, a lump contains a balanced feed as well. But oftentimes, birds may like, first of all, to pick the bigger ones before they go to the smaller ones. But for the pelleted ones, they go for that one. So we have the broilers and that of the layers. For the broilers, with my feed, I do advise farmers, get my pre-starter for like 10 to 12 days. In fact, 10 days. 10 to 12 days. So by the end of the day, you move to we call it B1. Some people will call that, some people in other companies, some people will say starter. But I tell you, my B1, we call it professional grower, either mash or the pellets. So when you introduce that one for like maybe 2 weeks, not even 10, let's say 10 to 12 days, at the end of the day, you now finish them up with my finisher. At the end of the day, within even times 30 days, but let me say between 32 days, within 32 days, you will attain 2 to 2.5. Somebody was even telling me, okay, Miola, don't be saying 2.5. In my own, I used to see 3 kg at the end of that the end of that 32 days. So with that, with the introduction of my feed, what are we talking about? We are talking about, you first of all introduce pre-starter. After pre-starter, you introduce, we call it the second one B1, and then the third one B2. So when you finish, by the time you finish those 3 stages, you see your birds coming out very well. And people will be asking you, Oga, where are you getting these birds? What are you feeding these birds? You tell them, I am professional. I'm using breedwell. And can't you even look at every one of us? We actually look like somebody who is actually well bred. Is that not true, farmers? That's the truth. So that's about the broilers. Now for my layers. Yes, layers. We are always looking at how we can make things better for farmers, because we understand that different farmers with different approaches. Because at every point in time, you see some farmers, they'll be telling you, what I know about breedwell is their feed is expensive. No, we are trying to make you understand that we want you to be in the business. And that is why we went inside and do different type of things to ensure that farmers get all what they need, even from us. And that's why we in our layer rations, we have laywear mash and laywear pellets. You know, I've told us the principle behind all these pellets and mash. Should I explain it again? We are okay with that. The principle behind the mash, I've told us. We have laywear mash, we have laywear pellets. They are the same thing, but different form. Then again, we have what we call, you want to see something? Okay. We have what we call layer mash. The pocket-friendly price is the laywear mash. I have farmers, we do tell farmers, my laywear mash, we give you 70 to 75. I was somewhere last week when I was saying 70. Everybody said, Oga, don't be saying that to my laywear mash in my farm. I'm seeing 85%. I said, you are the one. Now you they see 85. But we tell you 70 to 75 for laywear mash. We won't tell you what we are not. Just like my boss, Emiola, don't say what you are not sure of. Say the accurate thing. Let it be the way it is. And that is the principle we are holding on to. So for the laywear mash, between 70 to 75% production. Now for my laywear mash, somebody is even saying that he's seeing 95%. That is good. But we tell you, it is between 90 95 or thereabouts. Now for the professionals, what we see is 95 and above. Just give it a try and you will see that what we are saying is actually what you are going to see. And that is that about that. Then again, about our feed. There is a wrong conception which I want to correct this morning. When you want to raise your birds, the birds that are tailored for laying, they are expected to be exposed to chicks mash or chicks crumble. The essence of these chicks is to develop their system. Once their system is developed, they will be able to and that is the essence of all this. Then I want you to know that when animals are, animals, they have different, they cough. I call it oftentimes sigmoid cough. The method is when they start 5%, it is like a cough. They're moving up like this. After some period of time, they will maintain a peak. Your management and the type of feed you introduce will determine the longevity of the sustenance of that peak period. Now, if your management and the way and manner of the feed you introduce is like my feed, breedwell, you will sustain your peak for a longer period of time. And no matter how good a feed is, there will always be a curve that will come down. And that is why everything that goes up, they will inevitably come down. So when that time is coming down, when the production is coming down, and when they are old, somebody was telling me my birds has laid for 2 years. Yes, laid for 2 years and is really enjoying it. That's one of the things breedwell can give you. Longevity in terms of sustenance, long period of maintenance at the peak. So when I said they are now coming now, I said don't waste your money again. Go for layer match 2. Tell the person go for layer match 2 when your bird is coming down. When they are coming down, when they have matured, maybe after they have laid for 2 years, you now see that the production is coming down. Just go for layer match 2 and you will enjoy it. But not that your production will crash. The size of the egg. Go and look for breedwell egg. Somebody was feeding another feed sometimes and introduced my layware mash, which is economical. The size of the egg, very big. He was now asking me, Oga, as this big egg is increasing, I also want the production to be increasing. I said it is because the feed you are using before, it will make your egg because you are using economical. But if it is layer mash or professional, instantly introduce it, the production will shoot up. And that is the principle and some things about our feed. So I want to recommend that you introduce chicks mash for the layers. You introduce starter for the broilers. When you introduce broiler starter for the broilers, just like I explained, we have 2 types. We have commercial, we have the professional. I've talked on professional. Now we are talking about the commercial. The commercial has to do with those ones like, let me just be feeding these animals because I don't have a target of maybe a month or 6 weeks for the broilers. You start with broiler starter crumble. After you start with broiler starter crumble, you can even use our grower mash. Our grower mash, we have normal grower mash. You don't need to use grower mash for that at that point in time. Use grower mash. Or you use grower pellets. So by the time you use that, after some period, you now use our broiler finisher pellets. Don't you now see that breedwell, we are out in ensuring that we meet your needs and at pocket friendly period and season. These are some of the things that we have in our place. Feeding schedule. Regular and consistent feeding schedules help to maintain stable metabolism and growth rates. When you maintain, take for instance, if you are feeding your bird by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, make sure you maintain that time. If you are the time you feed your bird 12 today, tomorrow you feed 4, tomorrow you feed 1, it won't be consistent. Let's maintain consistency even as we are feeding our birds, and this will really help so that we'll be able to have sustenance even in our production. You have probably said you are what you eat. I oftentimes say prolificacy of an animal is a sign of good nutrition. And the nutrition we are talking about is breedwell feed. When you introduce breedwell feed, you will always laugh. Just like my boss used to say, he say, this our feed. Just tell them, feed them and go and sleep. Mama, feed my bird. Feed your bird. Baba, feed your bird with breedwell and go and sleep. Just automate and make sure that you give them water when they are supposed to get water. And you see better improvement. Poultry health management. Effective health management strategies are essential for preventing disease. I would like to talk on this. Very, very important. Somebody will say, I want to shock you. There is no hatchery that doesn't have a particular kind of disease that is peculiar to them. That is any company. So there is no company that doesn't have a kind of particular disease. And that is why the vaccination schedule, the medication chart that you introduce is very important. And you don't just collect anyone. The best way to do about that is you can sacrifice a bird just because you want to maintain, you want to get it right. Say for instance, the DOC, day old, you can get your bird, take it to the lab. Let them do serological tests, sensitive tests. Let them do all these things. They will now use that one to dictate when a particular kind of vaccine or drugs is to be introduced. When that is done, you will realize that you say, use your bird. They are not even falling sick. It's because you have done it. You have done it right from the onset. The era of planning. How much is a DOC? You can't just be throwing 1,500 around anyhow. If somebody has 1,500 naira, it is enough to even do something. So when you have your DOC, take it to the lab. Do the serological test, do the sensitive test, use it to determine the schedule of your medication, and then you do some other things and some other. My colleague will talk more on that. The routine checks will help to detect issues early. Regular cleaning and disinfecting of housing and equipment will help to control the spread of pathogens. Isolating new or sick ones will help to prevent disease spread within the flock. Great farmers, a typical poultry farming will feature all kinds of equipment like feeding system, watering system, automated system for air collection, ventilation, lighting, and other environmental control system. The economic aspect of poultry farm management. To maximize returns and minimize cost, poultry farmers and farm managers need to carefully plan their budget. I've talked on that before. And to enhance economic sustainability, poultry farmers can adopt various strategies. I talked on that even in my last discussion. Diversification. Some of us, let us try to be diversified in what we are doing. As a poultry farmer, there are some other opportunities that is around what you are doing. And those are the things. Take for instance your waste. Don't let the waste just pile up. You can make money even from that your waste. I could see Goshen, they are making a hell of money in that area. And because you just see them coming in. You just see them packing it. Don't waste, don't play with my waste. Because they know that it is another means of getting something. So diversify, and you will see that things will work out with innovation and efficiency. I've talked on that. And those are the things that are very important that we need to learn as an individual. Because to be the one that will help our country to grow, sincerely I appreciate farmers. Because without a farmer, you and I cannot be where we are today. A country without a farmer is just a country existing and not functional. Count the number of workers farmers have been able to employ. The farmers, this has been able to employ every one of us, and that is why we are doing very well. When all the points I mentioned above are strictly adhered to, a better poultry husbandry will be achieved, coupled with the right diet. And when I'm talking of diet, what am I talking about? Breedwell. So, from Breedwell, success will definitely be achieved. And that is why I want to welcome once again that Breedwell is a hinting now. Tell the person beside you, Breedwell is a hinting. Well done, everybody.
Great farmers, no farmer, látàárọ̀ tá a ti ń sọ oríṣiríṣi fitting. I think there are some Yoruba people here. Am I right? We have been saying so much of English since morning. Abi? Mo ti ń wojú àwọn kan, ojú wa ti ń pòyì. Mo ti ń gbàdúrà pé we have to break this thing down into our local language. Am I right? If you are in support, say hi. All right. I will try as much as possible to be very brief. We have to leave this place as soon as possible because we have a lot of things to do. Am I right? Thank you for the privilege you have given us as a company to speak with you today. And firstly, we want to appreciate God Almighty for bringing us all here today. I know you know that it's because of God that you are here today. Am I right? So we have to give thanks to God. So now, I want to quickly talk on the concept of vaccination. I would run as fast as possible because we as farmers, we contribute to the health of people in our country, and we have to pay attention to one or two things that we often see as little things, but they also affect our farms. Now, concept of vaccination. Now, there are new things that are going on in the vaccine industry. I want to share it with us. There are new trends that are coming up in the vaccine industry. Now, the first thing is focus on recombinant vaccines. I will explain in Yoruba. Let's just take it one by one. There is now a focus on recombinant vaccines. What are recombinant vaccines? They are the vaccines that are created using genetic engineering, and they offer greater safety and efficacy, leading to their growing adoption in the poultry vaccine space. So, if you want to produce vaccines, you would have to take the DNA of a particular antigen. You take the DNA and you insert it into a cell. That cell is the one that will now activate the production of antigens that will now tell the body to respond. You understand? Now, this particular one I'm talking about, recombinant vaccines, is now a new technology that is coming up, in which the DNA of where a piece of DNA, it is not the whole pathogen, not the disease itself, but a part of that disease is being removed and inserted into a harmless cell. It's inserted into an animal. That is a new technology coming up now. When it is inserted, now what happens? The body produces antigens. They are proteins that the body produces. It triggers the body. Now, when those proteins are produced, these antigens that are produced, they are now purified and they are used as vaccines today. Now, these vaccines are very safe for our animals. Nǹkan tí mo sọ ni pé nísìnyí báyìí àwọn vaccine kan ti ń jáde tẹ́ pé wọ́n á mú àìsàn yẹn fúnra rẹ̀, wọ́n á yọ díẹ̀ lára ẹ̀, kì í ṣe gbogbo àìsàn yẹn, wọ́n á wá fi sínú ara animal tá ti fẹ́ test ẹ̀. Tá bá ti fi sínú ẹ̀, bó ṣe fi àìsàn yẹn sára animal yẹn, the protein, mi ò mọ Yorùbá protein, ẹ ṣáà máa bá mi lọ bí mo ṣe ń sọ, ó máa produce ara ẹ̀, ó máa replicate ara ẹ̀ to the extent that it will now turn to the vaccine itself. Ó máa di vaccine yẹn fúnra rẹ̀. Tó jẹ́ pé òun làwọn máa fi ṣe vaccine yẹn tó máa jẹ́ pé ó máa jẹ́ kí ara respond to fight the disease that is coming from outside. Bí mo ṣe lè ṣàlàyé nìyẹn, ẹ bá mi gbà bẹ́ẹ̀. Now, the next thing that is happening in the vaccine space is the development of multivalent vaccines. How many of us have used vaccines like ND plus IB? We have used it. How many of us have used vaccines like NDIB, EDS, and Coryza? How many of us? The 4 vaccines. Shetiriri. How many of us have heard about 7-in-1 before? It has been a vaccine brand that has been in Nigeria for a while, but 7-in-1 is not that common again, but we can still find 4-in-1. So there is a development of multivalent vaccines now in our vaccine industry. These vaccines offers protection against multiple disease. That means you can control coryza, you can control egg drop syndrome, you can control all other diseases with just one shot of vaccines that have been combined together. This will save you money. If you are vaccinating for coryza alone, you know how much your coryza vaccine costs. If you are vaccinating ND alone or NDIB, but when they bring it together, and it saves your time, it saves your money. That is another new trend going on in our vaccine industry. Now, there is also emphasis on in-ovo vaccination. There are some people that are now vaccinating hatchable eggs before they are being hatched. That's what we call in-ovo vaccination. That means kí ọmọ òròmọdìẹ tó jáde nínú ẹyin kó tó hatch adìẹ yẹn wọ́n ti fún ní vaccine tó máa last for a long time tó bá ti tí ẹyin yẹn bá ti yé tó bá ti crack tó bá ti hatch tó bá ti pa ara ẹ̀ tó bá ti pa ọmọ ó ṣáà ti yé wa ẹ ṣé gan ni. So now these are vaccines that offers protection against multiple disease. This innovative technique involves vaccinating chicks before they hatch. It is offering early protection and potentially reducing the need for post-hatching vaccines. Let me go to the next one. Advancement in delivery system. Now, do you know that sometimes if you give your vaccines, am I right? Okay. Please, I want to make this announcement very fast. The owner of this car should help us to repack. KSF 156H something, I don't know. HT, okay. Should help us to repack. Thank you very much. So let me run because of our time. Now, if you vaccinate some birds and you don't vaccinate some other birds, the occurrence of that disease is still prevalent in that environment. Am I right? Taba fún àwọn adìyẹ kan ní vaccine táwọn kan ò mú ńbẹ̀. Àìsàn yẹn ṣì wà nínú bí tá kó àwọn adìyẹ yẹn sí. So now, there is now a very effective method that most hatcheries are now adopting, and that's the method of spraying. So your delivery system, the way you give the vaccines to your birds really matters so that we can have value for your money and all your birds are covered. The last trend that is shaping the poultry vaccine industry is integration with digital technology. Now, digital tools with poultry vaccination programs can facilitate data collection. Our Aquaman for our DIY vaccine, but can record it. Now, your recording will give you a kind of precursor. It will give you an information to track the performances of your different cycles. Lori farm. Ṣé nǹkan tí mo sọ yé wa? Ẹ má kàn jẹ́ ká máa fún wọn ní vaccine. Okay, mo fún wọn ní Lasota lẹ́ni. Irú brand wo ni mo lò? Ẹ máa kọ sílẹ̀. See if brand yẹn ò bá sílẹ̀ mọ́, ẹ rí irú strain yẹn tó jẹ́ another company tẹ́ tún lè lọ rà tẹ́ máa lò. That is why some people when they vaccinate, they will remove the label and they paste it on their record book. So now, there are digital tools that are out now that are very good for your record keeping. Now, why is this topic of vaccination very important? Healthy birds will give us more eggs and meat and more money. Sometimes you are complaining that your birds are not producing well, but you have also mismanaged them in proper timing when it comes to vaccination. We have also mismanaged them in giving vaccines, and because you feel the vaccines did not work, you revaccinate again. There is problem on the farm. You know, we contribute to the health of this nation. And of course, sometimes I have seen some farmers that when they use vaccines, they will now start using different antibiotics to make sure that the birds are stable. You know what you are doing? For every antibiotics, there is always a withdrawal period. Do we know? Now, when we say the withdrawal period, tẹ́ bá ti fún adìyẹ ní antibiotics, ó ní oye ọjọ́ mélòó tí antibiotics oògùn tá a fi fún wọn yẹn tó máa fi ṣiṣẹ́ lára wọn a gbúdọ̀ jẹ ẹyin ẹ̀ a dẹ̀ gbúdọ̀ jẹ ẹran ẹ̀. Now tell me in Nigeria ẹyin tẹ́ ẹ ti produce 50 crates ẹ wá fún wọn ní antibiotics lẹ́ni ẹnìkan wá sọ pé ẹ gbúdọ̀ jẹ ẹyin yẹn ẹ gbúdọ̀ jẹ ẹran adìyẹ yẹn ẹ jọ ta ló máa fún yín lówó 50 crates yẹn. Now, do you know the reason why we contribute to the health of the country? Now, those are the things, those are the things that are causing so many carcinogenic cases now in our country. Do we know? Do we agree? In some developed countries, they would mop up those eggs and pay you as a farmer. That is if you have a good record. So these are things that we should pay attention to, the health of your birds. Now, sick birds will cause you losses, death, and wasted effort. For everything you put into your business, you want a corresponding profit. Am I right? Now, vaccines keep your poultry safe from deadly disease. Let me move forward. What are vaccines? We know what vaccines is. Abere ajesara, ama fingokosara, adiyewa. Or might trigger the production of a particular antigen, and the antibodies also will be triggered in the body system to fight against the antigens, so that when the disease from outside is coming, it will fight against that disease. That means the body has recognized that this disease, I have been able to, acclimatize to it. Ara mi ti mọ̀ pé disease yìí wà ní àyíká wa. Tí àìsàn yẹn bá ti ń bọ̀ láti ta, ara yẹn máa lè gba àìsàn yẹn láti lè wọnúlé. Let's move forward. How does vaccines work? Chickens get a weak or a dead form of a disease. That weak form is not harmful for you. Most of us took COVID vaccines, Abi. When we took the COVID vaccines, did you react? Me, I reacted though. Yes, I was having fever for days. Do we understand? Now, so vaccines are just a weak or dead form of a disease introduced into the body of an animal to protect that animal from external disease coming. Their bodies learn how to fight it. Ara àwọn adìyẹ yẹn ó máa learn láti fight àwọn disease yẹn. Now, when the real disease comes, they are ready to fight against it. I'm running. We know vaccines types. Any live, we have inactivated vaccines, the oil ones. The live ones are the ones that we give through the eye, the water and the likes, without wasting our time. Now, when is it right to vaccinate? When to vaccinate? Follow a vaccination schedule. My colleagues talked about it. Starting from proper seromonitoring at day old. Most of us will collect day old chicks from our different hatcheries. But we don't sacrifice to take a few, maybe 2 or 3 to the lab. For every batch of birds that you collect from the same hatchery, there are series of DNA reformations. There are series of mutation that will have happened that you need a seromonitoring to actually expose to you how to protect your birds. Ó yẹ ká mú díẹ̀ lára àwọn òròmọdìyẹ ká mú lọ sí lab láti test wọn wá draw vaccination program fún wa tá a wá máa fi fún wọn ní vaccine by lọ́jọ́ by vaccine by lọ́jọ́ by. Àwa kan máa ń ṣe àṣìṣe kan mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé láti èní lọ a máa fi sọ́kàn tá a bá ti gba àwọn adìyẹ kan a máa lọ mú vaccination program tá a ti ní tẹ́lẹ̀ a máa fi máa tọ́jú wọn nígbà míì ó lè má ṣiṣẹ́ bá ṣe fẹ́. In fact, vaccination program of another hatchery, you are going to be using it for another birds coming from another hatchery. These are the things that seromonitoring can correct. Now, you ask me, where are the viable labs around us? You asked me that question, right? Ẹjọ́, àwa tá bá kò sí lab tí ò dá. But if you pay close attention to some labs, irọ́ ló ń fún wa o. Do we know that? Irọ́ ló ń fún wa o. They are just repeating the last result you gave them. Am I having witnesses here? All right. So we have to find ẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn. There is diversity. There are so many labs that you can explore in Lagos. Tí ẹ bá lè lọ sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ ní àyíká wa. Kó má dàbí ìpolówó ọjà. Ẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ láyìíká wa. Ẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ Dr. Makinde. They will show us to places where we can do sero monitoring for our birds. Time is very important. You are supposed to give maybe your gumboro at day 8 or day 9, and you gave it at day 15. Kò bàjẹ́ o, ṣùgbọ́n time tó yẹ ká fi fún wọn yẹn àti expose àwọn adìyẹ yẹn for a little period of time. Ó yẹ ká máa fún wọn tó bá sọ pé day 8 gumboro, ẹ jẹ́ ká lò ní day 8. Tó bá ní pé day 9 ká lò lasota, ẹ jẹ́ ká lò ní ọjọ́ yẹn. Timing of our vaccines are very important. Now, vaccinate early. You would have better protection. Don't delay or forget. Prevention, they used to say it, is cheaper and better than cure. Let me move faster. Administration technique, if vaccines, we can put our vaccination inside water, we can spray it, we can put eye drop, we can do transfixion and scarification. That is when you put it through the cutaneous route or the wing web. So I will ask a question very soon. Now, injection, intramuscular or subcute. Intramuscular and tabak understand? Subcute, tabak being your own, okay. That's in over administration. That was the one I talked about. There are some hatcheries that are now vaccinating hatchable eggs from when the eggs are yet to be hatched. Now, tell me, what administration techniques is this kind of vaccination? Somebody said eye drop. There is a general name, Tamanfu. Subcutaneous, no. Okay. Sir, IO. That's what we call ocular vaccination. Lati oju. Now, the next thing, what vaccines do we administer through wing web? Fowlpox. Eshe. Amo wegon. Eshe. Now, vaccine storage. This is something that we also have to pay attention to. Because if we don't do these things very well, they become harmful things for us and our birds later. Now, keep vaccines cold between 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. Now, it's just a standard. You understand? It's just a standard. Just within this temperature, your vaccines are viable. Use an ice pack and cooler. I have seen people take ice water inside a nylon, and they put. It's not bad, but it's better. It's safer. It is more standardized when you use and put your vaccines inside an ice pack and a cooler. Now, don't freeze your vaccines. Can somebody tell me why? Don't put your vaccines inside a stone blocking freezer. Can somebody tell me the reason why? Okay, it's minus degree. You are a bit right. Yes, sir. Who else? We are learning. Who else? Thank you very much. So both of them got it very right. Now, vaccines are made up of different structural designs. Now, I will tell you something now. Freezing can damage your vaccines. There is a delicate structure that your vaccine was made of. It is in the powdery form. It has been freeze-dried. It has been turned to powder. Now, if you freeze it below this 2 to 8 degrees and you put it inside the freezer, it cakes together. It breaks the delicate structure of that vaccine. For jury. We can't see it. And when you use it, or at the point of administering the vaccines, or at the root of injecting the vaccines, you will start having problem. Now, the chemical and the physical structure of vaccine that if no freezer, break. And the vaccine components too will break, leading to a decrease in the vaccine's effectiveness. Vaccine that's why we have breaks on our farms. So it's better to keep our vaccines inside a refrigerator, fridge, or we buy it, put it in an ice pack, and go to use it immediately. Or if you are sure of your light source. Some people also put it in freezer, but not the stone, icy stone freezer. If you can ensure that your freezer is not that stone free, but I will still encourage that you put it inside your fridge. Now, do not leave them under the sun. I know we understand the reason for that. How to prepare a vaccine? We know how to put a vaccines, how to reconstitute our vaccines. Basheman da vaccines no mi. Ejeka ki botun yen tabati ja ori e. Ejeka ki sabe omi yen. Omitole mutonda 2 or 1 hour, 2 hours or 1 hour. Katu sinwe. I don't want to waste our time. Omitole mu within 2 hours. Clean tools, syringe, and wabereta and low. Ejeko mo. droppers àwọn nǹkan tá à ń fi drop vaccine yẹn sójú wọn ẹ jẹ́ kó mọ́ àní mímọ́. Get the right dose. Don't use 500 dose and you have 2,000 birds. They are not covered. Don't use 10,000 dose when you have 5,000 birds. The viral load is high. So now, vaccinate during the cool hours. We know the reason why. So that we will not stress them too much. Please, because of my time. Can we serve Gumboro vaccines and Lasota vaccines together for our birds? Yes, Abi? Okay, can you tell me if you have used it before? Can you tell us your experience? Mommy and Yellow, yes. Okay. Okay. So, is it safe? It's not safe. Okay, sir, why is it not safe? You are overstressing the birds. So let me, because of our time, let me also encourage us. Shall you understand? Make sure we manage ati Lasota loto, Gumboro loto. Gumboro vaccines alone is highly virulent, is strong. And when you are adding that one to it, I've seen a farm that combined the two and they almost lost everything. Because they didn't even manage the vaccines properly. And they gave at the wrong time. And of course, even if you don't, we can't talk about other factors, but they lost a lot of birds. Now, things that can go wrong, expired vaccines, please don't use it. There is no protection at all. Wrong dose, no effect or harm. You use the wrong dose. What do we mean by wrong dose? Can somebody help us? Okay, you have 1,000 birds and you are vaccinating 500, you are vaccinating with 500 doses. Am I right? Some will be covered, some will not be covered. But technically, the disease condition is still, those that have not received that vaccines, they are exposed. Now, dirty hands and tools. You are trying to fight an infection. You are bringing it back with dirty hands and tools. That means we have to be very careful. Paint. And we won't show. In the paint want to yagbesi to change got to kosi, and at the end of the day, on all to vaccine wasi ejekuma wani mimotonin tawa no ba fe lo anti-malaria abi paracetamol. Shama lon lo mi to doti rara. Because of our time, skipping birds, disease will spread. If you skip some birds or they don't have access, the disease will spread. No records, there will be confusion. You won't know the one you have not used and the one you have used. You won't be able to follow your vaccination program effectively. I'm rounding up. How to avoid vaccine abuse. Do not vaccinate when birds are sick. Isolate them, treat them, make sure they are fine, then you can now vaccinate them. That's the best practice. Do not vaccinate too many times. If you vaccinate too many times, you are wasting your money. The vaccines will break, it will act against each other, and it will not work. Now, do not mix different vaccines unless advised. Like I said, now you can, some people have seen it somewhere. Some people said their vets encourage them to use Lasota and Gumboro, but it's under strict supervision, and you know the condition of your birds. But I always ensure, please, if it is not prescribed, if it is not advised, please use the vaccines differently. It is better to reduce the stress. And you know our environment is very hot. Now, follow qualified expert advice only. Please ask a vet. Don't use vaccines just because others are doing it. I'm rushing. Now, this is an example of how your vaccine record should look like. The date, the vaccine name, the method used, side effects. Vaccine record helps you to track your flock progress and avoid confusion. Signs that your vaccines worked. Kini àwọn àmì tá máa rí pé vaccine wa ń ṣiṣẹ́. Àwọn adìẹ wa máa wà ní ara pípé, ara wọn máa jí pípé. They will be very active. No outbreak in the flock. That disease we are trying to control, we will not see the effect on our eggs, on our litters. You see that everything has cleared off and they are healthy. Good growth and egg production. Now, when you give some vaccines like Lasota, your egg production drops a little, not too sharp. But after 2 or 3 days, you see that it will do what? It will jump up again. That's the sign that your vaccine really worked. Low or no death rate. Signs that your vaccines failed. Birds will get sick. They will still be sick. Now, that's when you see Gumboro. And, you start seeing your birds dying. Now, and mortality rate will increase when your vaccines are bad or they didn't work. Uneven size or poor performance. Always check for wrong vaccines, poor timing, and wrong method. Birds, biosecurity measures, please. Every farm should be very biosecured. If I enter any farm and I see that the biosecurity is superb, the first thing that will come out from my mouth to the owner or the manager is, sir, thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for keeping Nigeria safe. Thank you for keeping your investment safe. Now, clean your coop. That means your pen daily. Don't do it to stress yourself. Somebody said, when you get to a certain age, run away from poultry. It's true. When your pen houses are clean. Now, the next thing is keep wild birds and rodents away. We know how many ways we can keep all these things away. Good netting, and of course, sometimes the proper use of some poisons. Now, the next thing, quarantine new birds before mixing them. Maybe you got 500 point of lay and you want to add more. Please, first of all, quarantine them, treat them very well, study one for a while. Biosecurity language, so that there won't be cross infection from the farm they are coming from to your farm. Now, I'm running up. Don't allow strangers in your pen. We have talked about that. Always ask a vet or an expert. If you are not sure, please ask. Vaccines are powerful but need proper handling. Better to ask than to guess. It can be very dangerous. Always check your flock's titer value. Now, bonus. If you want to you want to treat your Lasota, it's a very frequent vaccines that we all use. Now, please, the best way to do that is just take the blood sample, or if you can sacrifice a few carcass, take it to the lab every month. Check their titer value. There is a way they will do different tests in the lab, and they will tell you, please hold on for a week, hold on for 2 weeks before you revaccinate. Sometimes some of us have made it for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and of course, those are not the best practices. Or properly observe our birds. When you are seeing the signs of that Newcastle, we know it now. Their litter will be greenish. Their production will drop. Some will be having twisted neck over time. That's the advanced stage, and some will result to death. Please, let's check the titer value before we revaccinate, especially like Lasota. Final takeaway: vaccines. I'm rounding up now. Vaccines equals to life for birds. In fact, it will become life for we, the humans, that we are also taking care of them. Life. I've seen somebody that was sick. The person had serious sickness, and the birds too on the farm, they were sick. Do you know that this person had to go and first of all buy the drugs for the birds before he treated himself? Because it's more use the right vaccines the right way and the right time. Store them well and keep records. Be clean, be smart, be consistent. Your birds are your business. Please protect them. Now, I want to say something about our vaccines, and that will be the end of my presentation. Now, our vaccines, every vaccines you are buying from Totmak is absolutely good, excellent. You can trust Totmak for quality. You can trust them for consistency. You can trust them for so many things. You can trust them that your birds are covered. The storage and everything is unique. These are ways where you can keep, the cold chain of your vaccines alive. Now, somebody is selling something. Another person is selling the same thing. One product has a benefit that is peculiar to it than another product. But it's still the same product, doing the same job. Show you one got any the same oja, different companies. Iṣẹ́ kan ni products méjèèjì ń ṣe, ṣùgbọ́n ẹni tí wo market ó ti rí pé my market needs this, ó hard as a product ẹ̀. Àwọn àgbẹ̀ ń jẹ ìyà arún kan báyìí, ó hard as a product ẹ̀. At the end of the day, do you know that one that is doing more research, that is doing more work, that is trying to provide protection for your birds is the one that is doing more to help you? That is why I am talking about Totmak, and of course we appreciate. Please, can you appreciate Totmak one more time? I have known them for years. Now, the name of our vaccine is called IPRA vaccines. The unique selling point of our vaccines, the first one is quality and active antigens. That means the active ingredients in our vaccines, they are strong. They are very strong, such that when they get into the cells of your animals, they are actively protected. Sherry ẹnìkan máa ń sọ kí ní kan pé tó bá fẹ́ tajà fún anybody àbí fáwọn àgbẹ̀ ìwọ kọ́ tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ kọ́ ló máa gbàgbọ́. It is the response of the birds that will tell us if your product is good or not. Now, our product has antigens which protects and cover your birds. The next one, premium price, and I will explain this. Less cost of treatment. You don't need to double dose. How many of us double dose our Lasota? Raise your hand. Thank you. I know we are plenty. We double dose our vaccines. Lasota. I will tell you something. Now, the benefit of our own vaccine is you don't have to double dose. And I will tell you the reason why you are doing that. You are saving cost. If a vaccine is 3,000 naira, one dose per bird. Maybe you want to vaccinate 3,000 birds. That means 3 naira. Let him vaccinate at the Yekon. If you have 3,000 birds, am I right? One dose to one bird, am I right? One dose to one bird. Now, 3,000 naira long vaccine. That means you are using 3 naira to vaccinate one bird, am I right? If you double dose, you are using how many naira? 6 naira to protect one bird. Now, if I am selling my own vaccine at 4.5 and you don't need to vaccinate, that means you are vaccinating with my own vaccine at 4 naira 50 kobo, which is still safe and cost effective. But the other one you have used 6 naira, you are spending more money. Because on my vaccine, you don't have to double dose. Please, let's pay attention to these things. Why is it that most active ingredients and antigens in most vaccines, they are less, strong than we used to have them? Have we asked that question? Because of my time, let's go on. Longer protection and timeline. Now, some of us do our Lasota every 4 weeks. If you use my Lasota, I can tell you that it can last for more than 6 to 8 weeks before you revaccinate. In a year, you are saving money. Because of our time. Now, our product increases your flock economic value, business marginal profits. Now, if I give you a vaccine that will make your birds to be active and they are producing good and more eggs for you, you will smile to the bank. But if you are using a vaccine that is not really protecting them, you are spending more money to double dose, and you are also spending money and you are not getting the required. Some of us will vaccinate double dose. Again, we see that thing has not worked. We go and vaccinate again. Has it happened to any one of us before? All right. These are things we should put to consideration. We don't compromise quality. We don't. I've worked with different multinationals. We don't compromise quality because we know the value of health to our birds. Now, research and development. This is a company that the vaccine that we bring into Nigeria, there is always a budget every year that has been set aside by the company to produce and research more on ways where the vaccines can be of help to farmers and protect your birds more. Like I said, what I'm saying may not make any meaning to you, but when you try this vaccine, you understand the basis of what I'm saying. Some people have tried to get 3-in-1 vaccines. They were getting it at a particular price. They asked me for my own 3-in-1 vaccine. I told them the price. I said, if you use my own, you will get this so response. Your birds are more covered. In fact, your cracks and when your birds start producing would give you good profit on your farm. They said, the vaccine companies, most of them are compromising their quality, but we don't. And we do yearly research on it. Now, thank you very much. If we have any questions, please, we can ask after this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I want us to put our hands together again for all our presenter. Starting from Mr. Emiola and also my friend Hayodeji. We have been taught quite a number of things, and I'm sure that we're going to have 1 or 2 questions. Don't forget, the essence of this meeting is just for us to also interact with ourselves. There are a number of people that have been using this product. Maybe you have not even seen Dr. Mohammed before. You have not seen Ali before. There are some things you want to ask them. this is the time to do that. Uh, and so this is how we are going to do it. If you have a question, please raise up your hand. Okay, I will take the number. Okay, the first 5 people. Have you given the numbers? Okay, this is how we are going to do it. Our presenter will be everybody here that will be answering our questions are here. So you will come for number 1 will come. You will tell us your name. You will ask your question. Then our presenter will note your question. It's not impossible that we want to ask similar question. And if they have asked the question that is on your mind, please don't bother to ask that question again. And after we have asked all our questions, then our presenter will start to address all our questions. Number 1.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ o, gbogbo àwa ọmọ Nàìjíríà rere. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ orúkọ mi ní Abíọ́dún. Tí mo wá láti agbègbè Ifọ̀. Ìbéèrè mi ni pé tí ẹ bá ń sin adìyẹ tó bá rà ní a day old tó bá tó bí oṣù 3 sóṣù 4 tó bá ń kú kí ló lè fà àdẹ̀ra àwọn oògùn láti sọ nípa vaccine yẹn àwọn oògùn tá a máa rà but ọmọ mi ló ń sin adìyẹ yẹn but èmi mo wà nílé but èmi máa bá tọ́jú ẹ̀ so mo á fẹ́ mọ irú oògùn tá a lè máa lò fún wọn oṣù 3 oṣù 4 tí òfin máa kú.
The question is asking is if somebody buys bird.
Good afternoon, everybody. Orúkọ mi ni Mrs. Moshood. Ìbéèrè mi ni pé as a layer tó ti ń yín dáadáa tẹ́lẹ̀ within let me say 7 months or 8 months now ó kàn drop ni kò perform and the egg was very small. Why? What can cause it?
Next question, please.
Great farmers, my question is that because I've never experienced it, what can cause blindness to fowls, especially turkey? You see, they are fervent in the morning, but before an hour or 2, you observe that they are blind, and before you know it, they are dead. To turkeys and other fowls. The other question is that relating to the first question, within 3 to 4 days that you collected your turkeys, you just find that they are getting weak and died. 2 within 2, today 3, next time 4, before you know it 50 died. That's my question.
Great farmers, I'm Olaomi by name. My questions goes based on the vaccine. I've used the vaccine before whereby because of layers. So later on, I now discovered that like 4 or 5 of my layers started dying. So I'm taking one to the lab. They said it's the vaccine that failed. I met a veterinary. Now I have to tell him that whenever I buy any vaccine, I should try to be adding little evaporated milk to the vaccine. So I have to ask, why is it necessary to be adding little milk to the vaccine water?
All right, next person. Next person.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dorcas. I want to ask this question. What about in layers? when it comes to anti-cocci of a thing, you administer it within a specific time. But after the administration, you still discover that the feces has some color that is not encouraging. I want to ask, what happened? Then can one change the kind of what's it called, treatment you are using? Can it be changed if you think maybe it's not active enough? Layers. After you've administered anti-cocci drugs, and yet you still discover that there's feces has this brownish, blackish color. Few of them.
Next person, please. Next person.
Great farmers. First of all, I really appreciate this lecture, and I have learned a lot. I really appreciate it. My question is very simple. Your documents, is it available for the attendants for us to have handout?
Next person can document. Next person.
Great farmers, my name is Oluwasegun. From the very first presentation, it was talking about, taking the quality control, that they even go to the extent of trashing some, feed after production when they see that it's not good, in order to maintain the quality. Now I went to, the store to purchase some bags of feed, and by the time I opened it, I discovered that, some insect already working on it, and, so I went there to complain. He was giving me excuses here and there, and, he couldn't do anything about it. So what do you do in that kind of situation?
Next person.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akanwo Adebukola. Actually, some of my questions has been asked by other participants. Then another thing is, please, these notes that were treated here, the time we have here is not enough for us to really go down the notes. So I will plead if the notes can be sent to our emails for easy access. So once we have a free time, one can easily go through it and take it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No, that's enough.
Well done, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. Adekule. Please, while the lecture was going on, we were told that from each archery, there is always a particular routine or vaccine that we should follow, if I'm right. And for each archery, there is always a particular kind of diseases that the birds are always kind of imitating, that we need to know so that we'll be able to tackle it on our farm. I want to ask, is it possible we can have, like you now, you also have an archery, you produce DOC2. So please, can we have your timeline or how we follow the vaccines if we actually buy from you? Because most seminars, we are always told like that. They will tell us this one has his own formula, this one, but at the end of the day, when we buy, they don't give us anything. We always go back and use all our own knowledge to try and help these birds to perform well. Please, if you can give us that today, we will really appreciate it. And there was a time I also bought breedwell, the feed. I think I bought like 15 or 20 bags. So luckily for me that day, I am a person that if I buy feed, I don't just stack them on the floor. I unloose them and I pour them in a drum just for the safety of those feeds, because I don't like rats intruding in it. So I find out that the last 3 bags I opened, and thank God it was the last one, I noticed they were green. Some were black and kind of moldy. So I took them back to the person I bought it from. In fact, it almost caused problem within me and that person. She was like, she had never bought that kind of feed before. I said, Ma, I buy my feeds from here. That's why I don't change where I bought feeds. just because of this purpose. And I've been buying from here, you know. Those birds I bought from day old from them. And this batch I bought, it is very bad. If I had to carry the feed back to her, she said she's not going to return, change the feed for me. I said, okay, no problem. I'm leaving it for you because I can't feed my birds with these ones. But in the long run, she later, I don't know who talked to her, but she later changed it. Please, I want to ask, why is the feed like that? Because she said she has never bought feed and it has never been like that before. So I want some explanation on it. Thank you. So that we and our customers, we will not be having quarrel or fights over feeds. Thank you.
Great farmer. My name is Olani. Actually, I want to say a very big thank to Totmak for this seminar. And secondly, my question goes like this. You know, as a farmer, I've used several feed before. And some of the feed miller errors outside, because most of them now, their customers are not patronizing them anymore because of the feed they are giving. And as a feed miller, I want to say this afternoon. The feed miller, they are actually most of the time they are cheating farmers, because whatever they prepare and introduce to the farmer, that is what we are going to give our birds. And the problem will now come to the farmer, because if you look at the egg that we were selling, you cannot tell a buyer that this size, this jumbo size is, this pullet size is jumbo. No, it is feasible. They will know. They will not buy the same price they are going to buy jumbo size with the same price they are going to buy pullet. But the feed millers, most times, even when you scale the feed, most times it will not even up to 25 kgs. And there are many unthinkable issues. Personally, I don't believe in fascination. I don't believe in drug, because if you get your bird from the right source, and then you follow the fascination program, quickly. So there's no need of panicking or whatever. And if the feed also, they are doing fantastically. But my question now is that breedwell happened to be one of the best feed before. And sorry, permit me to say that even till now. But most feed miller, what they say is different from what they do. Because I equally work with what's called different company, particularly white men, and sometimes we manipulate and compromise with the quality, which is very. When we are talking about the livestock, we just have to be sincere, transparent, and realistic. We as a farmer, we bear a lot of loss. Please, the question now is that if your bird is not performing, and you are using vaccine, and you are using a particular feed, how can you determine, or what is trace the problem? Is it the feed that might be the problems, or the vaccine? That is my question. So how will we determine, discover the issue, the challenges, if the bird is not performing very well? Probably it could be the feed or the vaccine. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So we'll take it question by question, but let's start with the last question, because I don't think you would paid attention for the last question. So let's just respond these questions first. Okay. So guys, the last question he was asking, okay, once he already facing any challenge in the farm, okay, and he doesn't know if it's from feed or it's from the.
The man wants to talk. That's why he wants to. Let's give him the opportunity. Please come and ask your
Okay, you can. Okay, come. You can come. So this is the last question, guys, because this gentleman, he is persistent to talk. So that's the question.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please, my question straight to the last presenter. I'm somebody that normally breed for farmers. How many gomboro do we have? That's my first question. Because in Ibadan, I based in Abeokuta before. in Ibadan or Abeokuta, they will ask you first gumboro or second gumboro. They don't ask the questions here. They don't ask the question here. And this is only where I buy my vaccine. How many gumboro do we have? They will ask you, is it the first gumboro or the second gumboro? And I, as a breeder, I normally use 3 gumboro. Is it proper? I take 3 gumboros. Is it proper? Do we have? Say? The first one is 8 weeks. The second one 16. And the last one maybe 23 or 24. Yes. So, do we have first stage gumboro produced, or are they just asking us? So that's my question. And the other one, in this here in a seminar, somebody tell us, do we really need vaccine? Did our environment request for vaccine?
Thank you. So I bet we received 11 questions, so we don't have enough time. So let's go through it. But it's really interesting, guys. So the last question for the vaccination or whatever. So do we need to vaccinate in Nigeria or not? Or what is the proper vaccination we should follow up? You know, guys, viruses and vaccines is not an easy task. It's not a matter of joke. You don't see it by naked eyes. So you should follow the instructions of producers and people that sell you the vaccine. Not to just tell yourself, okay, I need or don't need. Okay? Based on the challenge in the environment and based on the vaccination program for every company. So you should follow up the instructions. So there is no even one vaccination program, guys. But even for broiler, for layer, for breeder, in Hebra, we have our own vaccination program. We customize it based on what we see in Nigerian environment. So we can share it with you guys, with our vaccine salesperson, Mr. Ayudoton. He can even share it through Dr. Markenda. Our recommended vaccination program for broiler, for layer, and also if breeder, we also customize this vaccination program. This is what we already advise you people, because also we will, Dr. Markenda for sure will discuss about this, because in certain territory, if we are talking about this auto area or whatever, so we know the challenge in this area. As you mentioned, there is kind or couple of strains of Gomboro, for example. You might don't have such a challenge here in Gomboro, so you don't need to have this mild strain or virulent strain or even the most virulent strain. You just need a mild strain. For Newcastle, the same thing for mycoplasmosis or whatever. So we will do this. Please, Ayudoton, remind me to even share with you guys our vaccination program through Dr. Markenda, and he can customize based on every territory. Okay? So let's go to the other question.
The first question, they would...
Yeah, so bring the other one, the one before this.
Okay,
because I forgot actually. So just remind me about the question.
How many Gomboro do we have? Huh? How many Gomboro do we have? I think we have answered that.
We did, I already told him about this.
Okay.
So actually, for example, for Gomboro guys, we have, if we tell you, in breeder, we have in hatch. It's called Gambo hatch. We vaccinate Gomboro and the hatchery. Then we have a mild strain that's called CH80. We also vaccinate it, and also I cannot give it to you when exactly should you vaccinate it based on the territory, because even in south west area we give it with a program, and even east area we give it other program, and we have what's called GM97, which is more virulent. If you are facing more challenge in Gomboro, or even the when you face outbreak, what is the size? Just like you see some depression, or there is high mortality or very high mortality, the signs after dissection. Also, we can even follow up with Ayudoton in this regard. Then, as I mentioned to you, we will give you the customized vaccination program that even we use in our farm. Okay, that based on the recommendation from Hebra Spain and what we see here in Nigerian field. Okay? The second question?
Yes, I am. The last one before the one. If your birds have, she complained of some feed having underweight, and if your birds are not performing, how will you solve the challenges?
Okay. If the feed is not performing, okay, this is the thing, guys, we need to be fair. If you count only in one, if you expect that there is only one factor affecting the feedback or what you're getting in your farm, so you are oppressing some other factors. There is lots of factors starting from healthy DOC, starting from the optimum formulation of the feed, high quality feed. The most importantly, guys, you might even feeding the most efficient feed in the country. You have the good vaccination program. You have the best DOC in the country, but the husbandry, the management inside your farm is bad. What can the good feed will do for you, the high vaccination program will do for you, the good medication will do for you, and you even have bad ventilation. If there is high amount of ammonia or this unventilated area, okay, and you keep even giving antibiotic and keep even product, you will affect the chest of the bird. And you know, if the bird is having a proper manifestation in respiratory system, he just keep gasping, you know, he doesn't even have appetite to go to feed, he has depression. So you need, guys, to even manage the farm properly, the temperature, the ventilation. Sorry to say, especially in open system, you cannot control all this stuff, because we open all the whatever shelters or whatever in order to get any air or whatever. But in semi closed system and closed, you can even do it. But at the end of the day, you should control the management item regarding the ventilation, the temperature, regarding the feeding, the water, every single thing. What you are doing, actually, the attention of the laborers inside the farm, all these factors influencing the feedback of your, at the end of the day, of the income. Like, for example, if we are talking about broiler and we are calculating the FCR. FCR is not just to tell I have this amount of feed fed, and this is the flesh I got, the meat. It's not about this. It's about a lot of factors also, the mortality rate inside your farm. If you have sparrows eating from the feed, if you are wasting feed on the farm, if there is rodent in the farm, you know, all this stuff even will eat more feed, will even give you miscalculations. So in my opinion, guys, when you have a good management, and for sure, always you need to compare apple to apple. Don't even go to breedwell and go all the way to breedwell. Give the room to other people to compare. Okay, even in another scale, if you are using this kind of X feed now, okay, don't even go through breedwell one time. Just give a room for one line or one farm from your farms to breedwell to check the comparison, because to have the apple to apple comparisons, this is what I personally recommend to see. Seeing is believing at the end of the day. Probably you will face a very good FCR or even high production ratio in layer, and you know, this one is not even the same thing if you compare it with another feed, because you didn't see any other. You will not know the other except you try it, right? So you should try it. Always we say give it a room to try other kinds. We are open. Even if you have this, try this in the same environment to get the apple to apple comparison. Okay?
So the next one is if the feed is green, black, moldy, what is the solution to it? Say it again? If the feed is green, moldy,
okay,
not just take talking generally. Okay. What is the solution to?
Okay.
How can one avert?
Look, guys, you know, even methods of hygiene inside the feed mill. Okay, from our side, there is a rule on the feed miller himself to increase the disinfection and the hygiene inside the feed, to decrease what you call it, the bacterial burden inside the feed. So that's why there is no fungal growth or even bacterial growth inside, which make the feed is greenish or clumpy due to fungal growth. The first thing is from our side as feed producers. That's why we are doing a lot of even procedures to get you a healthy and you know, like hygienic feed. But on the other hand, when you take it, there is for every single product you have a shelf life. You are not supposed even to leave it for over 3 weeks, 1 month, like 45 days, and you need to even have the same quality like if it's just produced. So the storage quality itself, the environment inside your store, if the good ventilation, no humidity, all this stuff, even it's raised from the ground, okay, and all this stuff will help you to increase the shelf life of the feed inside. But at the end of the day, you should protect it. But if you have it, for sure, due to any reason, due to like more time storage or whatever, so for sure this is mold. So you need to even interact with us to dilute it, to decrease the amount of this moldy stuff, and even add some antimycotoxins in water as well. Okay, but for sure you should even be fair. Is it the reason coming from a very fresh feed after a week or 2 weeks? So you can go back to the feed miller. If it's coming after 2 weeks, 3 weeks or more, so you should even look to the environment of storing inside your storage area. Okay?
Can the notes be gotten? This our
sure, guys. That, as we mentioned, like we will share through Dr. Markenda all presentation we got, and he knows you better, guys, so he can distribute to all your emails, no problem, or even through our team, no problem. Okay.
Also available on YouTube channel. It's also available because we are transcribing on live. So all these things we are doing, you can also get it on the internet too.
For sure, guys. We have sites on Facebook, we have on Twitter, we have on Instagram, we have sites for Breedwell and Sayed and all, and also we have for Hebra. If you just Google the Hebra.com, Hebra Spain, you will find a lot of researches from people in Spain, and for sure we are open if you need any further data or technical information.
So what happened to layers after anti-cocci drug has been administered to layers, and after some time they are still having issues?
Look, guys, I hear this question, but she told, okay, after I give anti-cocci drug and I see some brownish discoloration of the fecal matter, right? And you suspect it's a coccidiosis. In order to say it's coccidiosis, there's a lot of stuff. You should even identify it's coccidiosis, because there is even very similarity even in symptoms in the fecal matter, or even in the distinction between coccidiosis and cholestridiosis. So you should differentiate, is it cholestridria or is it coccidia? Okay, so she was talking about layer. So for sure you should even get even regularly dosage of amprolium. Amprolium is a drug of choice for layer for coccidiosis. And also, as I told you, you should refer to your vet. So you should identify first if it's coccidiosis. So you should go through the anticoccidial treatment. If it's cholestridiosis, don't even exhaust the bird with amprolium or whatever. You should take another medications, anticholestridial medications. But always, guys, you should even identify it in a proper way to know exactly which kind of disease you have inside your flock. Don't even because you saw brownish discoloration of fecal matter or even red discoloration, sometimes this sloughing of the intestinal mucosa. So you tell, okay, it's the coccidiosis. No, you cannot say this. So you should identify first, is it coccidiosis or not, and then deal with it. But always, even based on what you are interact, coccidiosis, guys, is a kind of prevention better than curement. So you should prevent it through the good, hygiene, also less humidity, even inside the cage, for sure, if litter or whatever, the cage, every single thing should be dry. So as long as it's dry, no wet litter, so there is no predisposing factor to have coccidiosis. But if you have it, even if layer, you should even add some anticoccidial, especially those very efficient in layer like amprolium. Plus vitamin K for sure. Amprolium plus vitamin K.
Vaccine administered and led to mortality. Why is milk needed? Why is milk needed when you are administering a vaccine? What is milk? Milk.
Oh, the milk. Yeah, it's very good question, guys. This is not milk. The full milk will destroy the vaccine. By skimmed milk. Skimmed milk make coating to the virus, so that's why it increases the shelf life. Instead of even drinking it in 1 hour, it might be 2 or 3 hours maximum. It's not increasing the shelf life up to day. No, it's just like to increase, especially in the hot environment. So the skimmed milk, when you add it to the vaccine, after you even do the lyophilized tablet under water, right? So you add the skimmed milk, it will increase the shelf life of the vaccine to even decrease even the destruction of the vaccine during the vaccination time for 1 or 2 hours maximum. Okay, so it's helpful. I do advise actually to add skimmed milk, not full milk. The skimmed milk to the vaccine while you are solving it.
So within 3 to 4 days, why is it that turkey die within 3 to 4 days? Which one? Turkey.
Turkey, yeah. Look, guys, you asked about Turkey, the death in 2 to 3 days. Yeah, and the other question, to be blind, and the swelling head, and even the eyes closed, and have sometimes in the big or higher age have some cheesy material. It should be liquid at the beginning and then become cheesy later, right? You know what's called, the first thing is called the Haemophilus bacteria, Haemophilus influenzae. This is the bacterium which is called coryza. So the main even cause of this is coryza in Turkey, coming from the mother, the maternal or even descending infection from the parent, from the breeder. So in my opinion, so you should advise, if you have this, advise the breeder to vaccinate the vaccine that Mr. Ayodoton recommended, because most of the first week a challenge is coming, especially in Turkey, coming from the parent. So, and unfortunately, it's not even cure. Like if you have E. coli, for example, the colibacillosis or salmonella, you might even, when you give some colistin or even fluorophenical or even add some antibiotic, enrofloxacin or whatever at the first week, it will decrease the white diarrhea. But after this, it will expand. But for this coryza, it needs vaccination. So our even recommendation to even advise your people that you get the DOC of Turkey, DOC from them, to vaccinate against coryza. And also, like there is a lot of program